Welcome to Volume 2 of Arsenal's Video Club, an exclusive behind-the-scenes record of the Gunners' season. In this edition, in Volume 1, Luton were the last league opposition. We pick up the story with Manchester City at Highbury.
Well, Coton taking the opportunity here to get even greater distance. Certainly the direct route for City, aiming as ever for Quinn. White's in behind him, and Brightwell got to it before David Seaman. City in front. Well, how far can Dixon hurl it this time? Good distance. Back from Rocastle. And Smith! It's crept into the corner. And just the start that Arsenal needed to the second half. And I think a touch of good fortune in there as well. This will tell us the whole story. Smith shot. Oh, and it came significantly off Keith Curle. Appetite strengthened now. And rampant Rocastle, roared on by the North Bank. Davis. Thomas is free, well hit, and very well dealt with by Tony Coton. City finding life tough at the moment, and Peter Reid trying to lead by example, and he's come up smiling. But they can't get out of their own half. Dixon saw to that. Merson with the cross. Davis is there, wonderful save. Thomas following in, off the bar, Limpar, back of the net. Arsenal pressed and pressed, and in the end, despite the gallantry of their goalkeeper, Manchester City caved in. Davis really deserved to score with the header. Coton denied him then. Thomas with a very tight angle, and so too Limpar, but he overcame it. Coming up to 20 minutes gone, really is a terrific atmosphere. Fueled, of course, by the great cup battle between the two clubs last season. Winterburn. Smith, first time! That's a terrific goal from Alan Smith, who swept it in with all the class of a natural finisher here. Speed. And it's given away by Strachan. And Merson sets up against Sterling. He's had plenty of joy against him in the past. And he comes out on top again. For Winterburn. Smith! Arsenal have gone two in front. It's a second for Alan Smith. And that was just a reaction goal, really. Keeping on his toes in case Winterburn miss it, which he did, and Smith swept it past Lukic. Strachan with the corner. Speed gets to it. McAllister's put it in, but the referee has blown. But it's a penalty. Gordon Strachan against David Seaman to try to bring Leeds back into it, and how about that, given the circumstances? Batty. McAllister. Chapman will reach this! And this splendid advertisement for First Division football may well end with honours even. Well, after what happened to Coventry here on the last day of last season, there's certainly room for improvement in their performance. Dixon. Oh, he's played it back! It's an own goal! Inside the first minute! Coventry still standing the test here, having been given the lead in such bizarre circumstances. And Ndlovu is past Linnigan, and he's steered the ball in for a second for Coventry. And Arsenal are committing suicide here. O'Leary to take it. 2 minutes left. Adams! They've got one back. Here's the time for more. Really a chance for Crystal Palace to use this game as a barometer to see whether they are going to be capable this season of following Arsenal so closely. But Campbell has got the strength. Has he got the shots? Well, he has, with a bit of help from Perry Suckling. Rocastle. Dixon. And again, Campbell so elusive. Alan Smith! That's a glorious goal! Whenever Arsenal get the ball into wide positions, they look as though they've got more than the measure of Crystal Palace, and they can work a way through the centre here as well. Mickey Thomas with the jig of delight. Merson. Really inviting Humphrey to go for a walk here and now for a run. And when it comes to running, Merson's got the speed. He's seen Campbell, and Arsenal have number 4. A second for Campbell. Well, the gulf so considerable. Palace below par, but Mark Bright has kept going, and at least brings a cheer to the throats of the Palace fans. Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 4.
A good result at Palace, but Arsenal are still some way off the early pace. You'll recognise this, Paul Merson's crucial goal at Anfield in March. But did you know that Mers was one of 8 players in that Arsenal team to come through the club's youth system? Here at London Colney, the next generation have arrived. Arsenal's under-12 side, and they're all local lads. Every player lives within an hour of Highbury.
One time, boys were going around Arsenal one night, Manchester United, Tottenham, West Ham, and they were playing too much football, going training too much. So the FA stepped in and said, right, let's have a centre of excellence where boys would only go to your centre for 1 hour a week. And so therefore that's every club does it.
But not every club does it as well as Arsenal, as today's opponents, a representative side from East Anglia, soon find out. For senior pros, these games are a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, I was out there myself a few years back. You know, a lot of young players, myself, Dave Rocastle, Michael Thomas, all started that on this pitch, playing in these games.
It's not unusual to see the likes of Tony Adams on the touchline, although the skipper may have raised an eyebrow at this piece of East Anglian defence.
I suppose they work it a bit more, Arsenal. I suppose they've done it now since, I suppose, the 70s, I think, early 70s. And they've obviously seen the success from it that's come from it, and probably have worked on it a little bit more than one or two of the other, or most of the other clubs.
Obviously from schoolboy, you know the setup at the club. And obviously as a schoolboy, you know, you're looking at the first team, and a lot of the first team players come through the ranks. So obviously it's a pretty successful system. And it's great being a youth team player at Arsenal because of the tradition and whatever, you know. So, as I say, it's a good start being a youngster here.
Back on the pitch, East Anglia grab a rare chance. The two quick goals from Brendan Finnegan put things back on course. The under-12s, all products of Highbury's Centre of Excellence, prove that from top to bottom, Arsenal's teamwork is a different class.
I remember going down West Ham and there were about 30 boys running around in the gym, and I thought at the time I was only like 14, 15, I thought, you know, I'm not going to learn anything here. So come to the Arsenal, it was so professional, right through the people that are still here who actually spotted me, Steve Rowley, and then of course Terry Murphy, and then Steve Burnshaw, all these type of people. They run it so professionally, like the whole club really, you know. The managers manage, players play, and boardroom, you know, they board, as it were.
And the youth development develops. A network of 26 scouts make regular reports from every corner of the country. Terry Murphy coordinates all this and more.
All the lads here have got the greatest respect for Terry Murphy. He was my scout, and he spotted me there many years ago. And it's not only scouting-wise, he's like a father figure really to the younger kids, and if they need any advice, then Terry's always there at hand to help them.
Dave had come from a very nice family background, but he never had a father, and his mother had a problem bringing him up. And I can remember when he was a 14-year-old, he used to come with his coat up here and his trousers up here, and I said to him one day, Dave, you know, I'll get you a blazer and a pair of flannels, and he said, no, it's all right. He's a very proud boy, David. I mean, the family was a proud family. They wouldn't accept anything in that way. I mean, this was a legitimate thing, you know. I mean, in football, you're not really allowed to offer incentives, but when you see something like that, you'd like to help.
Caring for the individual is just one of the many reasons for Arsenal's astonishing success with their homegrown talent. And what talent! The rout is completed by John Pearcey. Now, if that had been a Brazilian, a great result. But at Arsenal, even the kids keep their feet on the ground.
At your age, really, one of the things I'm looking for is, does that boy listen? Does he try to do things that have been asked of him? And today, he's mentioned 4 or 5 things to different players, and you've all responded. And I think it's tremendous.
Very cool.
Can we, by the way, have a copy of that video? Because some of those goals were absolutely superb, weren't they? Hey? Yeah.
such a thrill for everyone connected with Arsenal, and of course every English football fan to see occasions such as this. But how will Arsenal fare against a team that are doing well, Austria Vienna, in their own league, and of course are used to a diet of European games? Winterburn challenging them here and getting into a great position for the cross. Smith gets it back, penalty brought down by Friend. Well, even if they are used to playing in European ties, Austria Vienna caught out, and here's Lee Dixon against Valov. Well, he hit it hard enough, but not true enough. What will that mean at the end of the night? Dixon really put his foot through the ball, but it just rose too high for Arsenal. Limpau's corner. And there's a real urgency about George Graham's men, fueled really by the penalty miss. Adams, and it's going to drop for Linighan! And Arsenal have the lead that they deserve. The goal coming 7 minutes before half-time from really an unlikely source, but the two centre-backs making their presence felt in a joint assault, and it's Linighan's goal. So this so important to make the home advantage count, and indeed to keep a clean sheet. But Merson and Smith will double the lead. It's 2-0. With a goal of real quality. Look at the way Merson takes the ball here. And that's a warning to be fired around Europe, as it was fired at the Austria Vienna goal. Smith the scorer. Winterburn. So far so good on this special night for Arsenal. Campbell, Smith! It's getting better and better. Austria Vienna caught out by the long throw. Linighan helped it on. Campbell held off the defender. Smith was facing the goal and put the ball into it. Alan Smith at the moment is enjoying a splendid spell. Arsenal totally in control at the start of the second half, or are they? Mistake by Linighan. Ogris! And that's what happens when you lose your concentration. An away goal for Austria Vienna. Ogris, one of a whole clutch of Austrian internationals in this side. And although it was Linighan's mistake, it was very well finished by Ogris. Rocastle. Being forced away from the danger area, but he knew where Winterburn was. In turn, Merson really shouldn't have got in here, but what use he makes of the cross! Alan Smith has a hat-trick, but Arsenal can start to see again a place in the second round. Order restored in great fashion. Smith, who studied foreign languages in his student days, and maybe this tournament is really tailored for him. Campbell, and Smith there again! Incredible! He's got 4, Arsenal have 5. And Campbell was unstoppable, except for the goalkeeper's raised hands, and he couldn't recover, and everything Smith touches ends in goals. Well, even the real Arsenal diehards. Can't remember too many nights like this. Certainly a personal best for Alan Smith, and Limpar to make sure it's not over yet. Campbell! 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 And even with 3 attempts, he can't get the goal that he deserves. And Marloff on overtime here. What a prospect Campbell is. He will get goals in bundles, you can be assured of that. Austria Vienna really now with their tails between their legs, and it may not all be over yet. Limpar not deterred by a difficult angle, and Arsenal have 6. They're surely through this tie after the first leg. 6-1, and Limpar gets his name on the list. It's been a superb performance by Arsenal, with Alan Smith the star of the show.
Yeah, I mean, that was my first European game, and it was a dream come true to get those goals. It just seemed to be one of those nights where the chances just fell to me in quick succession, you know. Most of them were knockdowns, except for the one where Merce crossed it over with his right foot, and I was just in the right place that night. Well, it was a great night altogether. I mean, we didn't know what to expect before the game, you know. It was our first encounter for a lot of years, and to come away winning by that margin was brilliant.
Rocastle. Sheffield United played very well here last season, but still conceded 4 goals. And they're in trouble. Well, it looked that way as they tried to plug a gap that seemed to be looming large on the edge of the area. It might still be there. Here's Campbell. Owen Smith! It's his 11th of the season. Just as in the European tie, Campbell at the heart of its creation. Groves taking the throw this time, and a good one too. Campbell. Smith does miss kick. Oh, that's handball! Michael Lake. Clear penalty. Now Lee Dixon, who hit the bar against Austria Vienna at this very end of the ground, takes on Simon Tracy and keeps his nerve. 2-0. And he's very pleased about that. Forward from Bryson. Dixon caught facing his own goal, but was aware of where Linnigan was, and he too, although he was much further away, aware of the positioning of Winterburn. Oh, that's too high for Smith, but it'll drop for Groves! Well, he's in the side for Anders Limpar, and that was a very Limpar-like strike. Smith. Groves with Dixon going outside him. Groves getting the better of Bryson. Rocastle, is it another one for Arsenal? It is. It took a deflection along the way, but David Rocastle with 11 minutes to go to half-time. 4-0. One thing about Dave Bassett's teams is they do keep going. And Bryson trying to catch Arsenal overcommitted in attack. And he's gone a long way, Ian Bryson, pushed out by Seaman. Ogana coming in. And Sheffield United sweep the length of the field to make it 4-1. Just at times in the second half, the concentration hasn't been absolutely total for Arsenal. But Campbell, that's a very popular goal indeed. He he's had a very good week. And it's 5-1. Seaman's coming and not claiming, and Clive Mendonca. It's only a statistical addition, really. 5-2, and Arsenal have rather slackened in the second half.
All summer, the big spending bosses of the First Division dominated the headlines. George Graham was the odd one out. But the boss promised that if the right player became available, he would reach for the chequebook. That player arrived, right on time.
Which sort of made me laugh really is, especially Ian Wright. I paid twice the transfer record, the Arsenal transfer record, $2.5 million. And the same day, actually, I was out with the soccer writers. It was their golfing day at Moore Park, and here am I playing golf for them all. And little did they know that Ian Wright, the biggest Arsenal signing ever, was signing and getting his medical done at Highbury.
I respect Arsenal in a way of not getting too wrapped up in all the media and all the bidding what the clubs do for a player, and then, you know, the player ends up being like a bit of cattle, and, you know, the highest bidder and that. And Arsenal just done it very quietly and very clinically, and I was just happy to go to Arsenal. I didn't even care who else was interested, really.
I think getting Ian really has lifted everybody. He's quite a bubbly character, not only on the pitch, but he's quite bubbly in the dressing room and at the training ground.
Ian's already one of the lads, a move made all the smoother by the presence of his best friend, David Rocastle, a man whose talents include startling psychic powers.
I think he's just starting, really, and if you look at the way he's just started, what's he going to be like in another year's time? So I wish he was at our club. Even though we've got a few good strikers, it'd still be good to have him at Arsenal.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it then, honestly.
Totally materialised here. What sort of an impact does he make?
Ian's a very bubbly chap. He's settled in. I think if you ask the lad, he's settled in very quickly. Yeah. But obviously, with the squad we've got, it's good to have someone like Ian coming in, not as a guaranteed first-team place. I mean, no one's got a guaranteed first-team place, but it's always nice if you're playing on the pitch. You look up and you've got someone like that up front who can maybe nick you a goal.
The Arsenal transfer record may have been doubled, but the spending continued. George Graham buying a player he's had his eye on for some time.
Well, I knew Jimmy as a schoolboy because when I was at Crystal Palace as a youth team coach, I used to coach Jimmy as a boy. He had a lot of qualities then that never come out at that age and came out later on in his career. And I knew he wanted to get back down south. I don't think he settled in up north, and he wanted to get back down. And I thought, well, yeah, at that price, I think it's a good buy and another option for us again. And if we're going to be up there looking to win the major honours, domestically as well as European-wise, we've got to have a big squad of players.
I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, because it came, so out of the blue, really. 1 minute I was at Liverpool, and within 24 hours I was an Arsenal player. So, I'm really delighted to be here. I live around the corner from Arsenal. My dad still lives around the corner. All my friends are Arsenal supporters.
as a youngster, I used to go along to the games with my brother, stand on the terraces there and cheer the boys along. So it's brilliant for me to actually be at Arsenal Football Club now.
We've got an abundance now of outstanding forwards, and it's now up to them to sort of position out for themselves. And it's going to be frustrating for some of them because they're going to be left out for maybe some games and maybe a few more than they would like to. But that's part and parcel now of playing in the English First Division.
Smith, Limpar, Merson, Groves, Campbell, Carter, Wright. The First Division's defences must be shaking in their boots.
Ian Wright hasn't had to wait long for his first game in Arsenal's colours after his £2.5 million move from Crystal Palace. He's in for the injured Alan Smith tonight. Right, Campbell making a decoy run. Wright uses him just as that, a decoy, and it was well kept out by Poole. Well, that will make him feel that he's a part of things. The new signing. It was an excellent run and a well-controlled shot too that was difficult to deal with. Merson. Arsenal once or twice trying to be a little too intricate, but Davis recognising the need to spread it a little bit. Wright slipping, but shooting and scoring. He's been out on the pitch in Arsenal colours for some 44 minutes only, and he's doing what comes naturally, and genuine congratulations from his new teammates. He'll find he's in a very tightly knit dressing room with great spirit, and he's very much part of Arsenal now. Ian Wright, a goal on his debut. Now Dixon in the way. Second time. Is that out? No. Corner is given off O'Leary. Tommy Wright to take it. It's the last minute. Oh, Walsh! Well, the last way you'd expect Arsenal to concede a goal. Joy for Leicester, 1-1. Steve Walsh, unmarked. Helped on by Shearer. And Dowie coming in to give Adams and Seaman a problem. Goalkeeper took the responsibility. And thanks to Limpar, Rocastle's got a lot of room in which to work here. Wright going to the right. On Rocastle! Rocastle's goal, and Ian Wright's played a major part in it. And David Lee pressed rather abruptly by Winterburn, but nothing given. And there's no offside. Ian Wright! They have a new hero, the Arsenal fans. That's a great touch. In behind the defenders, and they can't catch Wright. He's got two. Well, he seems to be producing his own scripts. Dowie couldn't get his head to it. Merson, Ian Wright finding freedom again. Arsenal playing like champions. Limpar has threaded it through for Smith. And in comes Wright, is it the hat-trick? This is a personal fairy tale for the £2.5 million man from Crystal Palace. A goal at Leicester in midweek and a hat-trick on his First Division debut for Arsenal. Astonishing.
Ian Wright's fairy tale start has fuelled the Gunners' impressive revival. That win at the Dell lifts Arsenal to third spot. The Football League champions hit the Euro trail. Arsenal are the first English club to play in the Champions Cup since the ban following the Heysel Stadium tragedy in 1985. They carry to Vienna not just the nation's hopes, but the nation's burdens too. Everyone's on trial: players, fans, club and country. Nevertheless, it's a responsibility that manager George Graham relishes.
Well, I think it's very exciting times again for Arsenal. Domestically, it's been very nice over the last 5 years. But getting back into Europe, you know, after such a long time, I'm very excited about it, and I think the players are, and I think the fans should be as well. It's lovely for Arsenal, but we'll even have a greater burden on our shoulders because I think we're representing England in the premier competition, the European Cup. I would like to think, which is probably very rare, that the rest of the country get behind us, like they did last season with Manchester United. It was the first year back for English clubs, and I thought Manchester United did a great job, not only for themselves, but for the good of the country as a whole.
The first leg against the Austrian champions left the rest of Europe quaking.
I think in that evening we saw what was the best of English football, and especially Arsenal at their best. I think it was one of the best all-round team performances that, since I've come to the club. I think we had everything. We had organisation, we had power, we had wonderful football and great goals. It was just a very, very exciting night, and probably one of the best nights I've had at Arsenal since I rejoined the club.
After the Memphis home massacre, the job, to all intents and purposes, was done. The team went to Vienna with the tie virtually in the bag, but with some important lessons still to learn. The boss was keen to spell them out.
You get into Europe, it's a different ballgame. You're playing against players you don't know. You're playing against teams that you probably don't mean anything to you. You're playing against different tactics. I mean, most of the continental teams don't play a pressing game that majority teams do in England. There's great space and great width, and they drop off and they let you play football.
The players are aware too of the demands of European competition.
League football's 90 miles an hour, loads of tackles flying in, and you know, it's really physical. And European is more slow and laid back, but what we try and do, we try and keep the tempo up for 90 minutes, and we don't think the Europeans like our style of play, whereas we get it up and we battle them a bit, so we find that pretty intimidating for them.
The formality of the result didn't dampen the enthusiasm of the fans. Thousands made the trip to Austria with the Arsenal Travel Club by land, sea and air.
By plane. Yeah, it's a good trip over. Nice food. Official charter? Or official charter of Arsenal Travel Club. Magic. Yeah. And really good trip. Arsenal done a really good trip.
And I've travelled from Workington.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's
We've travelled up from the north.
300 miles from
Yes,
Highbury.
a long way to watch the boys do the business.
The vast Prater Stadium echoed to the cheers of Gooners from all corners of Britain. The fans were on their best behaviour, and they outshouted the 10,000 home crowd. If the home tie was sparkling supremacy, the away leg was defensive and dour, with Arsenal content to soak up the pressure from the Austrians. The only slip was a penalty 10 minutes from time when Andy Linnigan pulled down the Memphis striker, Neba Kovac.
"13 minutes to go, Sturger takes it and scores! Well, David Seaman never likes conceding any goal, but 6-2 on aggregate in Arsenal's favour. He can be philosophical.
It was a satisfied manager and team that headed back to London. Next stop, Benfica. Good news from the reserves. Steve Bould's comeback is all but complete. He even grabbed a goal in the second 11's 3-0 victory over arch-rivals Tottenham. Boldy should be back in first-team contention soon. Since the last edition of the Video Club, George Armstrong's team have won 4, drawn 3 and lost 3. They're lying 5th in the combination with 21 points from 13 games. The youth side are doing even better. After 9 games, they're top of the South East Counties League. The Floodlight Cup defence has started brightly as well. After a replay victory over Watford, the young Gunners faced a Tuesday night visit from Maidstone United.
Cross from Reed. And Maidstone holding their own so far, very much the underdogs. Campbell. And it's come all the way back to Reed again. He's made space for the shot, and a useful try too. Appreciated by the spectators on this miserable night for watching. It's the enjoyable playing conditions. Charlton heading it on, the volley from Reed rocketing back into play. And here's Shaw, the danger not over for Maidstone yet. And it's a corner, and it's still 0-0. Corner from Brissett. It's a challenging one too. Retrieved by O'Brien's cross, and Shaw all alone, and Arsenal have the goal that they deserve from Paul Shaw. Jason Brissett shaping to take the free kick, but leaving it for Ian Selleck. Oh, that's a great header. The substitute, Adrian Clark. And it's Arsenal's match now. That's the final whistle, and Arsenal go through to the 3rd round of the Southern Junior Floodlit Cup. Arsenal 2, Maidstone United 0. Well over 40,000 jammed into Highbury, and the majority hoping to see Arsenal take the lead. Limpar. Oh, that's beautifully done for Winterburn. Rocastle has opened Chelsea up. Campbell! Oh, he thought he'd scored, and I must say, that was a feeling shared by many of us. Very unlucky. Wilson. Now Dixon, who of course was coveted by Arsenal in the past, and you can see why. Kerry Dixon. Graham Lasso! A goal for Chelsea! Jones. Looking for Dixon again, and he's got the ball fairly enough. Wise with the cross. Jones, Lasso, Wise coming in, and it falls for Wilson, and it's 2-0 with 19 minutes gone. Dixon just waiting for movement in the centre. Was that handball by Jones? It was, and Arsenal, just when they needed some help, have got a helping hand from Vinnie Jones. It's a critical penalty for Lee Dixon, and Hitchcock went the right way, but the ball was too well directed, too well struck. It's Limpar to take the corner when he gets his balance right. Smith, the goal! And it's Wright who's claiming that he got the last touch from Smith's header. Smith jumping for it, well met by Elliott. And Chelsea certainly needing him at the moment and trying to maintain their application. The 2-goal lead has disappeared. Here's Campbell. Oh, a bolt from the blue! But Arsenal eventually. It's taken them 70 minutes to take the lead. And still these early minutes of the second half. The goals on the score sheet of the tie overall came at Filbert Street, one apiece. Arsenal recognising the need to bring some pattern into their play. Campbell, Dixon, Wright's gone to the near post and deflected it in. His sixth goal for Arsenal. It's only his fourth game for the club. Leicester retreating in the face of Kevin Campbell. Merson is through, and that has made sure of it. Here at Highbury they joke that Paul Merson can beat players for fun. He's got such natural talent, and you saw it then. Merson now, quite rightly, of England as well as Arsenal. Missed completely by Webb. Rocastle, a central figure again, and he looks to trip Schmeichel, and it's in! A goal for Arsenal! David Rocastle via the bar, and I think the back of the Manchester United goalkeeper. A goal greatly appreciated on the Arsenal bench. David Rocastle, it's been a renaissance for him this season after a couple of years when he's really been out of sorts. But this was vintage Rocastle, getting the better of Robson to start with, seeing where Schmeichel was, lofting the ball over him, off the bar, off the goalkeeper and in. It would have come out off the bar, but Schmeichel, who had to try and reach it in the first place, provided the final touch. That's Pallister, and then Pates. The first priority for Arsenal here is to see it through to half-time. It's only a matter of seconds plus stoppage time. Giggs, Robson, and Bruce, I think, got the final touch. Steve Bruce, 1-1 win. Arsenal will feel that they were caught short at the short corner. Robson might have scored, Bruce did.
That hard-fought point means Arsenal have grabbed 13 points from their last 5 games. The early leaders will be feeling more than a bit nervous. Time now for your requests. Mr. Clifford Silverman of Wembley Park was just one of the many club members who wanted to relive Arsenal's last great European triumph. The 69-70 Fairs Cup run had proved fairly smooth going for Arsenal, their home form proving particularly impressive. After dispensing with Dutch giants Ajax in the semis, Bertie Mee's side had to travel to Belgium for the first leg of the final, where things seemed to be going horribly wrong.
Kelly.
2 goals from Mulder and 1 from De Vrient had given Anderlecht a 3-0 lead. But an inspired substitution turned the tie around. Young Ray Kennedy replaced Charlie George in the dying minutes, and it was the 18-year-old striker who headed a crucial last-gasp away goal.
Let het op bekijken aan de tweede paal. Daar is Redford weer. En die bal zit. Kopstoot van Kennedy. 2 spelers vrij bij Arsenal. Een koud stortbad hier.
6 days later at Highbury, Arsenal finished the job. After 26 minutes, George Armstrong's corner was only half cleared. Eddie Kelly drove the ball home from 20 yards, sending a packed North Bank wild.
Buis. Nog steeds Buis.
Determined to regain the advantage, Anderlecht counter-attacked, resulting in some desperate rearguard action. With less than 20 minutes left, Arsenal was still a goal behind on aggregate. Then Bob McNabb's cross found John Radford unmarked, 2-0.
Uit zijn schelp komen.
Arsenal just needed to hold on and the cup was theirs, but they didn't need to rely on the away goals rule. Despite the tension, John Samuels proved nerveless, latching onto this Charlie George pass and finishing in style. At only the second attempt, the Gunners had won a European trophy, one of Highbury's greatest nights. Last time we asked you to name your goal of the season. Mr. Steve Pecker of Marston was the only entrant to get the right combination. Congratulations, sir. You've won a VIP day at Highbury. Next best were Mr. Jamie Henshaw of Hyams Park and Mr. M.A. Buckley of Nazing. Your prizes are in the post. And here's that all-important winning combination. This time, a test of your knowledge of Gunners trivia. To win an exclusive Arsenal baseball jacket, can you name the 6 league clubs George Graham played for during his career? As ever, all entries and suggestions to the Arsenal Video Club, the Chrysalis Building, Bramley Road, London W10 6SP. Competition entries no later than the 1st of December, please. We'll look forward to hearing from you.
I think after winning the championship last year, the first few weeks of the season were disappointing. I thought the players after the championship a few years ago would have probably gained more experience, would have probably faced it up to it a lot better, and got off to a better start. So I was personally disappointed, although I kept it to myself a little bit. But since then, actually, we've gotten a nice little run again, and that's pleased me, the way we've bounced back again. It's a nice recovery, it's nice and steady, and we've just got to continue that gradual progression and be there at the end when it matters. I think Manchester United, I think they've set their stall out, and they look as if now they're actually doing what we did last year's season, keeping it very tight at the back, with the exception of maybe beating Luton 5. They've had a lot of close games, but very, very tight at the back, not giving goals away. And I think that's the way they're going to approach it, which is really against their normal playing pattern. You know, they're normally very attractive to watch. So I think they've gone the Arsenal way of doing it this year, and they've got off to a flyer. But we're slowly catching up there a little bit. I think what's been very exciting of late is the goals we're scoring. You know, with the highest scorers in the First Division, and it's very exciting. It's especially for Arsenal, which is the very opposite. You know, normally we're very tight at the back and don't score a lot of goals. But just now we're actually scoring plenty, and we're conceding plenty. So once we get it all right throughout, that should be the answer. I think we're getting to the stage now. When I first come to the club, people were hoping we would do well. We have done well in the last 5 years, and now people are expecting us to do well. And that's the expectancy is much, much higher now. And that puts, again, a little bit more pressure. And therefore then I've got to have quality players, not just 11, I've got to have about 18 or even 20 quality players for the number of games we're going to play. Because they've now increased the league games back to 42 again, and we're going to need all the players we've got.